some good news. On Monday, the Senate finally confirmed Representative Deb Haaland as the 54th Secretary of the Interior Department. So now, this was contentious in the Senate. And look, the fact that the vote actually came out to 51 without having old Democrats on board is, I think, something short of amazing. I mean, really, it really is. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really know how to respond to good news because it's been so long. I don't know how to take the win. And I think this is a problem that I think a lot of lefties have, is we don't know how to take a win. But aside from that, I'm going to go and just give you some of the details. Okay. So Haaland will be the first Native American cabinet secretary and the first Native American to lead the 172-year-old department, who, by the way, has a history of working against the indigenous population. So that's why it's kind of important now that, or I should say really important now, that she is heading this agency. Now, as far as she is a member of the Pueblo of Laguna tribe in New Mexico. And so she is she's representative of indigenous people, and that's excellent. And what's even better for me personally is that she's very progressive. So that's great. That's great on all fronts. Again, I don't know how to celebrate good news. This is hard. But anyway, more details here. So Monday's vote, as I mentioned, was 51-40. Every Democrat voted that was present voted to confirm Haaland. 4 Republicans, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Dan Sullivan of Alaska, Lindsey Graham, that's interesting, and Suzanne Collins voted in favor of her confirmation. I'm really surprised about Lindsey Graham. What? Hey, you know what? Great. I'll take it. So now, again, the significance of her taking over this agency is that, again, it had a long history of, going after indigenous people and their rights. They helped remove them from ancestral lands, forcing them onto reservations, stole their children from them, their culture. You want to talk about cancel culture, right? This is the literal cancel culture. America canceled the cultures of indigenous people, re-educating them, stealing them away from their families, from their culture. That's cancel culture. And now, thankfully, we have an agency that is being headed by an indigenous person. And for representation, that's big. That's really big. In fact, here's what she said back in her confirmation hearing last month. She said, "The historic nature of my confirmation is not lost on me, but I will say it's not about me. Rather, I hope his nomination will be an inspiration for Americans, moving forward together as one nation and creating opportunities for all of us." Well, I think that's a great message. So now, policy-wise, she's got a lot of work to do. We've got a lot of big issues, environmental justice, climate change, issues with the indigenous populations. And I think a lot of that needs a lot of bold action. And so from her record, I think that she actually might be the right choice. She served as a member of the House Committee on Natural Resources, chaired the subcommittee with oversight of the Interior Department, co-chaired the Congressional Native American Caucus. And in 2019, she actually introduced 13 bipartisan bills with, a lot of co-sponsors that were from both parties, and actually had a better bipartisan record than any other House freshman, and maintains somehow a 98% lifetime score from the League of Conservation Voters. Awesome. Even better, Republicans considered her to be a, quote, extreme threat to fossil fuel companies. I love it. Good. At one point, Senator Bill Cassidy went after Haaland about the importance of science, which is ironic, and asked her if under her watch, the department would be guided by a prejudice against fossil fuels or by science. Well, it turns out that science also has a prejudice against fossil fuels. So, and as far as the science is concerned, the science is settled on climate change. Climate change is happening. and it's always happened. But the rate of change has increased as a result of human activity. That human activity being the burning of fossil fuels, which means we need to transition off those fuels and do it as quickly as possible. Again, if we could do it overnight, do it. Yes, we should. Can we actually do that? Physically, scientifically, it's no. We've got to still fight the infrastructure. I'm sorry, not fight the infrastructure. We got to build the infrastructure. We got to fight Republicans who are going to go against that infrastructure, who are going to go against any sort of efforts to try to make a clean energy future. Okay, and so that's what we need to do. We're not there yet, but I think Deb Haaland is going to try to do the best she can in order to put us towards that future, to get us to that point. Now, as head of the Secretary of Interior, she'll be responsible for managing about 500 million acres of federal land, including 63 national parks, setting the policies that govern national resource exploitation, so that's good. Managing water resources across the West, also good. Reclaiming abandoned mine sites, protecting and recovering endangered species, and upholding the government's trust and treaty obligations to tribal nations. This is where she's going to shine. And why a lot of Indigenous communities and groups are very, very excited about this. Now, she would also oversee both the Bureau of Indian Education, which funds and operates more than 180 tribal schools, as well as the Bureau of Indian Affairs. And she'll also be working on reversing the industry-friendly policies of the previous administration, the Trump administration. Also, the department recently launched a comprehensive review of the federal oil and gas leasing program, which an administration official says is not serving the American public well. Well, of course, I agree. And so this is good news. Congratulations to Deb Haaland. I hope she will continue. I hope she will do great things in her role as head of the Interior Department. Awesome. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.